Hey guys, welcome to the Star Wars Holocaust with me, David, and my co-host, Scotty.
Yeah, that's true, David. Nobody knows Star Wars the way we know Star Wars, so we're here with a fresh episode of the Holocaust to give you the latest takes on the new movie, Rise of Skywalker.
I know everyone's been waiting eagerly to hear our opinions on the film.
Pretty much. It's, we have a lot of controversial opinions. I think a lot of people are going to be very, very,
This will cause some waves, I know that much.
Big splash.
So yeah, it's the end of the the trilogy of trilogies. It's the end of the
big one. And
no, there's going to be no more Star Wars movies after this, right?
For me, it's
Isn't
definitely...
that what Disney said?
Emotionally, I've already went through the death of Star Wars when Revenge of the Sith came out, but now it really, really is... Everyone's dead, except for the three characters that I really liked in this...
Not everyone's dead. Sorry, by the way, spoilers.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be very...
If you haven't watched the movie, don't watch this video, obviously.
This will be very spoilerific. And that's the thing, it's so arbitrary, because, they've cleaned the slate, and now the only people left are our three favourite actors, and they were all like, no, this is the last one, we're not doing anymore. So, thanks a lot, Hollywood, for...
Our three favourite actors. Anyway, so let's...
Mine, well, okay. Okay, one favourite actor.
Let's do just an overall... Yeah. How did you feel at the end of the movie? Was it a net positive, net negative? What was your impression?
Okay, absolute first impression was, I liked the movie. I liked watching it. In that, I would say, and I'm not very good at guessing how long time is without a clock in front of me, but at about the 25-minute mark in the movie, I was like, this is like a cocaine. This was written during a cocaine binge. JJ just laid it all on the table and was like. And then he wrote it, and then he took more and filmed it. It slowed down after that though, and got a little more watchable. I think, or maybe I just got used to it. I don't know. Is that sort of how you were feeling? I couldn't tell because you were about 2 rows behind me.
I was about a football field behind you.
David was up in the mezzanine.
At around about the 25 to 30 minute mark, I leaned over to my girlfriend Chloe and I said, "This feels like it's in fast forward." So I'm glad that we've thought the same thing there, because the first I've read a little bit of media online, and I do actually think a lot of people what a lot of people are saying is true. Yeah. This was basically him just trying to undo, or trying to do his own little episode 8 at the start of episode 9.
Yeah. In case you weren't watching, a little recap. I found that to be a little unnecessary because it's sort of, those drawings we used to do when we were kids, where you'd fold the paper into 4. Not halves, 4 quarters, and you would draw on the first rectangle, then take it away, and the next person drawing couldn't see the rectangle, and they had to draw their own torso. Yeah,
somebody would draw the head, somebody would draw the torso, somebody would draw the legs, and then you would unfold it, and you go, "Oh, whoa!"
This whole trilogy.
What's this mad ad lib of?
Yeah, this is what those movies were. For better or worse, I'm not entirely happy about
the trilogy in a nutshell.
And here's the thing: there are 3 very different movies, but. And everyone else has a favorite, or they hate them all, or this or that. I enjoyed all of them, but I have to tell you, I really don't think they work as a trilogy. If you sat down and watch them all in a row, it would be weird. They wouldn't match.
No.
But I feel that way about the other trilogies too.
Really?
You watch the original Star Warses, and they don't really go together.
Not sure. 4 and 5 maybe don't, but then 5 and 6 do, right?
Maybe, kind of. And then the prequels, that's another... But, we talk about them in every video, so let's, put the knives...
we can definitely say that the overarching story, of which there was none in the sequel trilogy, just was not there, and this movie didn't help much at all, and I think it kind of made it way worse.
Yeah, if you're into overarching...
Yeah.
If you care about that
it took what happened in The Last Jedi and just kind of yeeted it right out the window.
Oh, it had mega yeet, yeah. Are you fond of the yeet, David?
I've been using the word yeet quite a bit.
Okay, well, it suits you more than it suits me, so carry on.
Yeah, well, I'm a zoomer. So your net reaction was good, you enjoyed watching.
Well, you know what I'm like. I can sit here for the next 3 hours. I know we don't have 3 hours, and tell you everything I hate about the movie, but then at the end say, well, I liked it. That's something I learned from Star Trek as well.
Sure.
Nerds don't like to admit this, but really the big fun is nitpicking and pulling the thing apart. That's part of why we watch them, isn't it? Certainly for me. I don't know.
I mean, like, look.
Yeah.
That's a fun thing to do with a movie that wasn't 100% good.
Yeah.
I think if a movie is fine, like, we can't sit here and nitpick The Empire Strikes Back because there's nothing to nitpick.
Or Marriage Story.
Really.
It's interesting to me. All of my
Marriage Story. What am I going to talk about? Marriage Story.
We're not going to talk about Marriage Story, but I will say that all of my favorite Ben Solo scenes were in that movie.
Yeah. No, it's like with a really good movie that you really enjoy.
Yeah.
There's nothing to nitpick really, and there's no
Exactly.
point in nitpicking.
Yeah.
So it's fun to nitpick movies that aren't perfect.
Absolutely.
I kind of get what you mean, but at the same time, okay. Well, I'll give you my impression of this movie.
Yeah. You tell me how you felt.
Because I'll say for the first 20 minutes, I didn't enjoy it, and then for the next maybe 40 minutes, I did enjoy it, and then I don't know how long the movie was, and then the last 20 minutes, I hated it.
Yeah.
And that last 20 minutes kind of ruined the entire thing for me. I don't think I liked the movie.
You don't think you liked Rise of Skywalker?
I didn't like the movie on it as a whole, and as in its position in the trilogy.
Yeah.
The way that it treated the rest of the movies, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like the movie. I'm not going to watch it again. I've seen all of the Star Wars besides Solo.
You've seen
all of the new Star Wars films I saw.
You were in.
Oh,
I thought you were about to say.
Sorry. I mean, I'm not going to go see it more than once.
Okay, I thought
I
you were
didn't
going to
see Solo more than once.
I was explaining this to my wife this morning that every Star Wars, I think, I've seen twice in the cinemas at some point, except for Attack of the Clones, and then there was Solo. I forgot. So yeah, I'm on board with
Solo.
you. Yeah, you don't want to see this one again, David?
No.
Oh, okay.
I feel like we had a slightly different experience because we haven't talked about this.
Yeah, I'm conflicted. Well, you didn't.
We haven't talked about the movie very much.
Well, this is the first Star Wars we've seen in the cinema from the Disney era that we weren't basically holding hands during. Like, you couldn't hear my little.
Yeah.
So, okay, different experiences. Look, I don't know. Like
That's good. No, I prefer that because I think sometimes we enforce our own experiences on each other.
Yeah, a little
and
bit.
kind of land in the middle.
I'll admit that. I think that's very true. Well, look, like I said about the first half hour of the movie, I mean, I was worried. I was like, shit, I don't know how long this is. Is this whole thing going to be JJ and his weird little Final Cut Pro thing where he just loves the transitions and he thinks it's super cool and slick, and actually I just find it annoying. It ruined this new Star Trek movies for me.
Yep.
But
I mean, the action in general in the first half hour or whatever it was, the first slice of the movie.
Yeah.
No, I can't say that. I was gonna say the action was good, like the jump skipping, was that what they called it? Jump skipping in the Millennium Falcon.
Space,
that was cool.
Space skipping. Star
That's pretty cool, although it was very... I think it was a little bit too dangerous, the way they were showing it.
Yeah. Poe Dameron nearly wrecked that fucking thing like about...
Because I was like, you know, he can do like the uncalculated jumps and like appear somewhere wacky, but he appears like almost hitting the ground every single time. It's a little bit too outrageous. But the idea is cool, that he's just trying to get, you know...
Well, they need to come up with something to outwit the hyperspace tracking that was introduced in the last movie. So right off the bat, he's got to, you know, do a little cleanup job for Rian Johnson.
Yeah. I don't think... They could have just not... I don't know, just ignore it. Just you don't have to...
He ignored so many other things.
He ignored everything in The Last Jedi. He didn't have to explain everything.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have to put a line in there about the Holdo maneuver. Just ignore it. Just pretend it didn't happen.
Just
Whatever.
rejoice. Laura Dern is dead. She can't come back to hurt us anymore. No,
And I mean, in terms of... Because we look at that. We look at J.J. Abrams kind of retconning The Last Jedi and things that happen in The Last Jedi as he's cleaning up the story, because obviously if everyone can hyperspace jump into an enemy ship and destroy it, then obviously the whole world's going to be wacky. And then JJ decides that anyone can just bring anyone else back from the dead with the Force, and kind of does what he fixed in the same kind of way. He kind of just fucked up the entire story.
I mean, is it truly bringing back from the dead, or is it just a little bit of, like, healing? Like, I mean... Sorry, that's a really stupid question. Oh, look,
Ray was dead.
Flatlining, yeah, she was gone. Down for the count.
Completely, just 100-yard stare.
I don't know. I'm one of these people that liked The Last Jedi enough to think that it didn't need mopping up, but at the same time, I can clearly see that trying to make a sequel to it would have been a nightmare. I mean, I don't know. But then you can't waste your movie cleaning up somebody else's mess. Otherwise, it's not really your movie. I don't know. It's a minefield. I think.
See, in terms of the way that each movie ends, in the terms of the way each movie ends, I thought J.J. Abrams kind of left Rian Johnson in a bit of a. No,
really?
I feel like he kind of railroaded him into doing exactly what he did.
I guess, yeah.
Ending the film with her holding the lightsaber out to Luke Skywalker. It's like you can't skip over that scene or anything. Like you literally have to have Luke Skywalker on an island. Like it's just everything is written for you basically.
I never thought about that.
The only way to make the movie interesting is by subverting expectations, which is kind of what he tried to do.
Yeah. Oh well, he did it. The question is, I mean, the thing is, people didn't like it. Though, so.
Yeah, it's like when Luke has the lightsaber. The only other option from him going, all right, I'll train you, is him eating it off the. Sorry, just eating it. And then Rian Johnson ends that movie completely open-ended. Just JJ or whoever ends up doing the next movie. It wasn't JJ originally.
It wasn't originally JJ.
Just go nuts. Just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And apparently that is too open-ended. Because then we get what we got.
Well, I mean, all JJ has, he's kind of like me. All he really has is references, and he just loves to. It's his thing. He just likes to. He's a bit. No, I'd say he's worse for that than Tarantino is. Like just grabbing things and making collages out of them. I don't think JJ Abrams has that much more to him as beyond a
he has much
beyond a visual style. I don't think he's got anything else to give. Maybe that's a bit.
I'm just confused because
I
read a bunch of stuff. There's I think 5 discussion threads now on Reddit.
Oh wow!
They did one for each day after the movie. Right?
Oh wow!
And I read the first one and the 5th one or something. The first one was a lot of people getting mad that there was apparently leaks, like story leaks.
Yeah.
And they all sounded ridiculous. And apparently they were all true.
All the leaks were right.
True.
Yeah, look,
all of it.
In the last 6 months, I've scrolled past a couple of them by accident, and I've just tried to forget them and just
I haven't seen any. I was glad I didn't see any of them.
The movie for what it was. Well, at least that's what I tried to do. And yeah, I don't know. That sort of thing always makes a smidgen more sense in a movie, with the whole context of everything. But if you really didn't like those things, then watching the movie, I don't think will make you like them. So, I don't know.
Sure. That was the first day of discussion.
Yeah,
people being mad at what happened.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the 5th day, and everyone seemed to enjoy it. And I don't understand because in my grand view of the director kind of switching.
Yeah.
All of the criticism about The Force Awakens was that it was basically a New Hope.
Yeah.
Done over.
Yeah.
And everyone was mad about that. Everyone said, they redid they went safe with it.
Yeah.
They redid the thing.
Too safe.
And then Rian Johnson comes in and does something weird. And they go, why was he being so weird? And now J.J. Abrams remade Return of the Jedi. And everyone's like, this is alright. And I don't understand. Because
people don't know what they want.
What do Star Wars fans want?
I'm really glad I'm not directing any of the upcoming anything because, imagine trying to make these fucking people happy.
I think
I've got a real bone to pick with Star Wars fans, but I'll wait. We can talk about the movie a little more.
Let's talk about the movie itself, not just its part in the trilogy.
One big thing: the Emperor coming back. Absolutely predictable, down to note perfect. JJ. The second I found out he was directing the movie again, nothing surprised me anymore. It's like, well, this guy, he's just going to grab something and reuse it. He's just going to. I mean, was anybody really surprised when the trailer came out and it was like?
you think about J.J. Abrams is you could use the word acclaimed because he's made a lot of movies and a lot of them are
he's achieved a lot.
Very, very well received.
He's 3'7" tall. Sorry.
shorter than Mary.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's an acclaimed director, maybe, and Disney has every writer under the sun. Yeah. At their disposal. Yeah. At the disposal.
They're all going into the Pink Floyd. We don't
in the disposable. Why did they go with the laziest, most predictable, easiest story they could possibly go with?
Well, a big budget Hollywood movies is not where people go to take risks. I mean, name one where that has been done lately, except for The Last Jedi. But even then, I don't know. Can you really call that risk taking?
I don't know. Budget risks.
I don't think it exists.
No, I don't think they often do it, but I don't think it's a risk to do. I think the riskier thing is to just blatantly do fan service and do the laziest story you could possibly do. That seems lazier than actually just writing it.
I know we're not talking about this in any kind of order or anything, but I was just going to ask, the whole Palpatine coming back thing, the way they handled it in the movie, I was talking about this over breakfast.
Well, it's revealed.
Right at the beginning, right? It's virtually the first thing in the story crawl. And when we were watching the movie, I thought that was kind of dumb. And then it's like, this is a momentous thing. Shouldn't we see this transmission? Shouldn't this be like... And I thought about it for a minute, and I think he was kind of trapped. Like, you have to put it in the crawl, otherwise people will waste valuable viewing time of the movie, going, oh, how, what, why? We get it out of the way and put it in the opening news broadcast. I mean, it doesn't by any means make it a good decision, but at least people have time to get it out of their heads and just watch the movie and accept it for what it is.
Sure.
Whether you love it or hate it.
It is a weird choice because it kind of feels like he thinks everyone watched the trailer, so everyone already knows.
Yeah.
And I think when you watch the trilogy as a trilogy, that's just another thing that will make it really weird.
Yeah. Palpatine's back. A guy that basically wasn't even mentioned in the last two movies.
Of course he wasn't mentioned.
Because he was dead.
Because he was dead.
He was dead.
At least in Revenge of the Sith, they had, the decency to not just outright throw him down a hole and explode him. At least he just got out alive,
Did you laugh? I think I laughed when Palpatine was doing the voices inside Kylo Ren's head, and he was morphing through the different Sith Lords, and when it gets to Darth Vader, the voice inside your head. You have a good laugh?
Yeah, that's funny.
And did you like...
Little old James Earl Jones there?
I wish I could keep my thoughts in order, but I really can't because I didn't write anything down. But
then,
at the other end of the movie, when all of the good Jedi are inside Rey's head, and we hear all of our old favourites coming back, Liam Neeson, they must have bribed him. So they must have slid him some serious buckaroonies because he was back.
I didn't...
Rey, we're all right behind you. Yeah.
You'll take your first steps. Now's your time to take your first steps.
I
definitely heard Ewan McGregor.
Hey, that Ewan needs a good McGregor, am I right?
I definitely heard Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
And I heard Liam Neeson. I didn't implicitly recognize where Hayden Christensen was, but I know he was there.
That's because he's
there was a whole bunch of cartoon characters.
That's because he's always been a very generic, not memorable guy, and it's no surprise that his voice didn't stand out at all. Like, I think... Okay, I didn't want him. Star Wars fans everywhere seem to want Hayden as a ghost. Me? No, keep him out of here, he can't act. But if they were gonna use him, I think they needed some sort of visual aid because he didn't stand out. He recognized everybody else's voices.
You wouldn't have liked Hayden Christensen's ghost.
Absolutely
to appear at some point in this movie.
Absolutely not. I wasn't even comfortable with Luke's ghost, and I actually like Mark Hamill. And it was just so...
I think, there are certain things that are obvious that they should have done.
Yeah.
And I think Hayden Christensen's ghost is one of those things. Like, it ties up the whole thing a lot nicer.
Well, my point is,
include actors from the old stuff.
On a couple of points. If he was going to be in there, he should have been a ghost. And second, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, to me, he's not really Anakin. It's just a nightmare that I had when I was a teenager. But if if he was the chosen one, he's kind of getting short shrift to not appear in there somewhere or not really be a bigger deal. I don't know.
I mean, in a list of things that they were obvious that they were going to do.
Yeah.
That should have. I reckon they should have done. Especially if they're being so lazy with everything else, they could just.
Yeah. And just the way
certain things that are like fan service that just are expected.
Yeah.
And for some reason they didn't do. And then they did weird fan service that I didn't appreciate at all.
Like 2 Ewoks watching a Star Destroyer blow up.
Oh look, Cloud City. Remember Cloud City?
That whole thing came from the special editions to begin with. So why they need to trot it out again, I don't know. And really, why is the Empire getting wiped out this time any more final than the last time? I mean,
no, that's another issue.
You could say, well, all the Star Destroyers were in one place this time, and they didn't get off the ground, and they all just blew up. I mean,
it's another issue I have with the story, and the fact that they were copying Return of the Jedi. It's just.
I know that you were very, very happy to see Lando.
What's the point?
Yeah. You were
when he pulled his helmet off. I actually forgot that he was in the movie. So it was fun.
No, as soon as they ran into
hey, look at me!
As soon as they ran into a fat guy with a helmet on and a voice changer, I'm like, well, that has to be Lando. Like, who else is he gonna be?
Hey guys,
I'm back. Hey, and then Finn's like, Lando Calrissian. I have to say, as the only other black man left in this universe, it's great to see you. And hey, brothers, got to stick together.
We should discuss the movie at least a little bit chronologically.
We should, but I'm going to say one more thing before we get chronological.
All right, go on.
It's just something that stuck out to me as a marker of J.J. Abrams' low emotional intelligence, and really just his need to just grab stuff like it's a toy box. You know how Rey goes back to the ocean planet where Luke was hiding out, and she's like, "Fuck this! I'm going to become a hermit too."
Mm-hmm.
And then Luke helps her out by raising his X-wing, Yoda style. So dumb. Yep. JJ, you give him an X-wing and he'll use an X-wing. Well, it's like, it was a one-shot thing in The Last Jedi that some people, apparently, I've heard, didn't even notice. And it's just a visual metaphor. His X-wing is in the water. It shows that it's like Luke's clearly I will go sailing no more moment from Toy Story. Like, it's to show he's given up. He won't raise the X-wing. And
he's given up. He's sunk the X-wing.
Yeah, and not only that, but he's taken bits off it. Like his bedroom door was a bit of X-wing, and like surely he scrapped the thing and it's not going to work. But give JJ a thing like that to use. All of a sudden, it's like a museum quality, ready to be flown again. Fucking
just turn the key.
Yeah. Keys are in the ignition. So things like that.
Things like that annoy you?
That's the one example that stuck out to me, but there's dozens of them in the movie, so I don't know. It's that's
the kind of shit that I honestly.
I'm not saying that ruined the movie for me. I'm just saying that's one example of the way he.
That's
handles...
kind of the stuff that ruined the movie for me.
Like
anyway.
That's the stuff he seizes upon when there's But okay, let's get chronological.
It's just one of those things where you have Disney is very well resourced.
Extremely.
You could delay the movie for 2 years if you wanted to. They could have just done that. They have the money to do that. They could fund this movie 1,000 times over. Just spend a little more time on the script and just kind of
no more time.
Flesh it out.
Doesn't it feel weird?
Just flesh it out. Just make it a little bit better.
We watched this trilogy in 4 years. I feel like I've been fucked too fast. Like you think about that. Oops, I loved the new cast. We've only had them 4 years. Now we're never going to see them again.
Are we never going to see them again?
Well, I mean, how...
They're all alive.
Nah, you get the feeling that Disney Ridley...
Disney Ridley.
Bo Diddley, she doesn't want to play Rey anymore. I bet.
Why not?
Oh, it's just a feeling I get. And also, I totally went off her this week because there was some interview where she was like, I wasn't privileged. And they showed, like, what her family history was like. And yeah, she totes was. I don't like ignorant people.
Definitely.
John Boyega,
Or John Boyega's not going to appear in a film with her again because she said she's not privileged.
Yeah. And Oscar Isaac, he's probably too cool for this sort of stuff, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in 5 years they'll change their minds and just make them an offer they can't refuse, but...
Well, see, the thing about having such a young cast...
Yeah.
And being in this Disney ecosystem where you just kind of the media's going nuts. You just do TV shows and whatever. I thought they would just continue using the characters.
Yeah.
And that's why I thought nobody of the 4 main characters kind of would die.
Yeah.
I thought that it would not.
Yeah.
I thought that nobody would die.
They slammed that door shut, didn't they?
And
they killed my favorite.
And that was like I love Adam Driver.
Oh, I mean, what an actor. That guy.
Adam Driver is my favorite part of this trilogy by far.
Absolutely.
He's a treasure of a man.
He's probably the best actor in the trilogy, I reckon.
He was the best. Okay. The thing about this movie, he was the best actor in this movie. His face was in it for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And he had about 10 lines.
Again, I know
it's a travesty.
We're not here to review Marriage Story, but in that movie and this movie, it's amazing how his body language will change in some scenes. I don't remember what happened in Marriage Story, but in this movie it was when he wasn't in dark costume anymore, and he had the blue lightsaber. Yeah. What an actor! He transforms. The dude, like, you can just see something change. I'm not gay, but...
No. On that note, Chloe leaned over to me and said, his hair's fluffy now because he's good. And it was absolutely true. His hair got all fluffy when he was...
Maybe that was it. I don't know.
I think that was part of it.
Yeah.
But also, he's just a really good actor.
Yeah.
Like, the best acting in this movie was the one little bit where he just kind of breaks and goes, Dad.
Yeah. And Han Solo was like...
I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
And Han Solo, who I thought was being played by Steve Martin in this movie, was like, I know. So, sorry. Bad joke.
Best scene in the film, by the way.
Oh, the scene where he has this little hallucination that Han Solo is there.
Yeah, best scene in the film by far.
Yeah.
And I think most of my displeasure with this movie is the fact that, like, if you had written down 2 years ago when Last Jedi came out, they're like, what would be the stupidest way to finish the story of, like, Rey and Kylo? Just I don't know. Kylo turns good for about 5 minutes and then he kisses her and dies. and then you send that to the FX department.
I don't like movies where people are dying or near death and they just seem okay. It happened to him once when he was on the Death Star wreckage and he's just looking at her like, well, I fell over and stubbed my toe, and she heals his stab wound. And then when he brings her back to life and then promptly dies, he's just like, smiling for the first time, and then, yeah, I don't know, it's all too perfunctory for me. Is that okay.
I was going to go through chronologically and get to that bit, but do you know the episode of The Simpsons? And this is digging into your brain.
This is a chance that I don't, but okay, go for it.
You know the episode where Homer has... they introduce a new character on Itchy and Scratchy, and his name is Poochie, and he's a cool dog?
Nah,
and Homer does the voice for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Anyway, at the end of that episode...
Yeah.
They have to get rid of Poochie. So in the episode, in the Itchy and Scratchy episode, they have just like a static cell drawing of him, and they go, "Oh, I must now leave and go home to my home planet." And he goes, because they have to get rid of the character somehow. That's what I felt like they did with Kylo Ren.
You know, this whole trilogy is directors and writers writing each other into traps that they can't get out of. Because I thought a lot about the whole Rey thing and the Kylo Ren thing, and them as individuals, them together. And these writers couldn't win in this third movie.
Sure.
In the third movie, they couldn't win because what would be interesting? She stays nobody. That would just be too much for JJ, because everything has to be a reference to something else. He couldn't just have her be the filthy junk trader. She couldn't be a Skywalker, otherwise they'll never kiss each other, because that would be really weird. She couldn't be a Kenobi, because I always thought that was a lame idea anyway, but, you know. In this movie, after what's happened, it would just be too weird and random anyway. And the Palpatine thing, I still don't like, because technically that makes them kind of Force-related. Because Palpatine made Anakin happen. In some deleted material.
Yeah.
But I don't like her being a Palpatine and then, like, taking the name Skywalker at the end of the movie, like...
That's a real slap in the face.
I have to say, though, at least in my iTunes with all of her quotes, I think I actually have her down as Rey Skywalker. So I was 4 years ahead of the game. Okay. Do I? Wait, no. Yeah, I do. Haha! Scotty wins! Well, no, I don't.
You don't really win because she's not actually a Skywalker.
Look at this! They cast a bitch that looks a little like Natalie Portman or Keira Knightley. And, and she's not related to any... I mean, I don't know. What did Palpatine do? Get Padme pregnant? It's all too weird. I don't like any of this.
Well, Scotty, you know that when they cast her, they didn't have any idea what the fuck they were doing.
Hey, David, I don't like any of this, says the guy that liked the movie more than you.
I'm being very honest with the fact that every story... Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The things that I explicitly liked about this movie. Let me go through the things I explicitly liked about it.
The music.
Okay?
Yeah, okay.
What? The music. Yeah, whatever. That's
yeah, sorry.
The music and the FX, whatever. You know,
top notch.
It gets better every time. It's whatever.
Yeah.
I liked the adventure with C-3PO, Poe Dameron, and Finn.
Mm-hmm.
And Chewie, I guess.
What did they do again? They went to that desert planet to find the...
Well, besides going to the desert planet at first, because that was just during that clusterfuck of the first 20 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing with 3PO having the information in his head, and they had to go run around and find a way to do it. Mostly because it's very heavy on C-3PO, and I think they finally utilized the character correctly.
They utilized,
The last 5 movies have not.
Absolutely, yeah.
None of the prequel movies have, and the last 2 sequel movies did not utilize him at all, and finally they kind of got him right.
Yeah.
Like, he's annoying, but it's funny, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so everything in that kind of scene works, besides that weird bounty hunter lady that I don't give 2 shits about.
Well, you never see her face, so like you don't know whether or not you want to give a shit about it. That's...
No, I just don't give a shit about it.
Sorry, I'm just fucking with you. But when
she turned heel way too quickly. She was like, I'm gonna kill you, Poe. And then Poe's like, we need help.
Yeah.
And she's, okay.
Okay, could you kill Oscar Isaac? I mean, let's be honest.
And then gives him her special coin that she was gonna use. Do they actually care about each other? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, there was that. And then there was just, in general, the Rey and Kylo stuff up until the last half hour of the film.
Yeah, you like that
because I just like even with the wacky force teleporting stuff, like that's all done very kind of. It's done very. I was gonna say symbolically, but I guess
more like shambolically.
It's done in cool ways.
Yeah,
I don't really care about the fact that it kind of breaks the force canon, if you get what I mean, like the teleporting of the necklace and shit.
I don't mind new force powers because, like, it's a mystical power. Why are people trying to limit it? You know, why should it just be lightning and lifting things?
And it was just a cool thing to show that they were like connected in a weird way.
Yeah,
and I also liked the scene where, I mean, at first I thought it was silly when they were both pulling the spaceship.
Oh no!
In the weird little tug of war.
Yeah,
and then she goes.
And
blows it up, and they kill Chewie.
Yeah, they fake you
out. And then about 30 seconds later, they show that he's alive.
Yeah.
Which, give us a little bit of time to grieve. I mean, come on.
Payoff-wise, this movie frustrated me a little bit. Like, for instance, C-3PO had a chance to make a real sacrifice, and it was basically undone by a hard drive restore. And I didn't want
no sacrifice actually done.
I didn't want Chewie to die, but there's another opportunity to do so. Again, I mean... Killing people in the last part of anything is meaningless. Like, for instance, none of the deaths in the last season of Game of Thrones matter because the show ended. And waiting until the last part of this Star Wars thing to knock people off. I mean, I guess Lando could have gone out in a blaze of glory, but again, I mean, who really cares? He's kind of dead already. I don't mean the actor being old. I mean, the story's ended, and you know.
Oh, the character. Well,
I don't know.
If you watch the end of the movie, you'd get a different impression.
Were they trying to set something up with him and that fucking black chick?
I thought he was gonna fuck her.
Hey, what are you doing here? You know, we gotta stick together.
Hey, I'm from the... What system did he say?
Oh, he said it's an old system. Didn't he?
Oh, it's an old system.
Is that what he said? Did I mishear it?
I think he said an actual name, but anyway.
Oh, okay.
I think it was like Lord system or something.
Oh, I thought he said some old system, like he didn't want to. Anyway.
No, I thought he was going to say, "Do you want a little old system in you too?"
I will say, Rey did always look cute in an X-wing helmet, because in the first movie when she's having her snack, the muffin, and she has the little helmet on her head. I like when people have a helmet that's too big for their head. They just look cute. I don't know. Am I imagining that or?
No.
I'm going to buy an oversized X-wing helmet.
I'm not sure what the purpose of
bringing that up. No, it's just random thought. Okay, look, like I said,
I like that because it was like an actual consequence and like kind of character development for Rey. Like she was really concerned about being evil for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't dead.
And I guess I mean, they needed to keep him alive so they could have the prison break scene, I guess. But no,
you just write something else. Like
you just write something else. It's
just don't write a prison break scene. So
you remember what Brent Spiner said about Generations? He hated that Data got emotional because he found his cat because he doesn't like cats in real life, and he's like, "Can't I just find Geordie or something?" And I stand by that quote until the day I die. It would be great. He lifts the wreckage and Geordie LaForge is under there looking for his glasses, and Data saves him, and that's
Yeah.
So you have
That'll
options.
Be really emotional.
You have options in movies, and just they seem to just go for the worst ones a lot of the time with these Disney movies. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't want to convince you that the movie is bad.
You're not convincing me. Here's the thing. I said this at the outset. Either in this or the failed one that we recorded for about 5 minutes before. I could sit here and tell you everything I hate about this movie, but I still might like it. I mean, like so the last. That
was in this recording.
Yeah. Okay. The Last Jedi. I agree with pretty much every criticism of that thing, but I still like it because, like, for me, the scenes I enjoyed outweigh the bullshit with the casino. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't give a. I don't. It's all about your outlook.
The Last Jedi is weird for me because I defended it very passionately.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched it since. And I think I tried a little bit. I couldn't watch it.
Oh, okay. No.
I still think all the scenes with Rey and Kylo are like really well done.
Yeah.
But everything else is kind of trash.
Yeah, and I like watching.
I was defending it so well, but
anything with Rey and Kylo Ren, and anything with Luke and Rey, I can watch. And the rest of it is kind of a nothing burger. If I have to say something nice about the last, Rise of Skywalker. Shit. Like, The Last Jedi tried for more overt comedy, but fell on its ass. Whereas in this movie, the characters getting along and talking to each other seemed a lot more effortless.
I think JJ, like, we don't have a very good opinion of him generally.
Well, I don't know who wrote this thing either. I think all it is
it was just JJ's idea to have Palpatine in it, so obviously.
But all I'm saying
obviously it had something to do with the writing.
All you had to do really is get these three actors that we like so much in a room together, and the rest will happen. Whereas in the previous one, they're all gone off on missions, and Oscar Isaac is prank calling the redhead general guy, General Huxtable. That dragged on. It wasn't that funny.
No. I mean, what I was going to say was we don't like JJ that much, but he is good at just kind of more natural, amusing dialogue.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop the film, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because it's not good when the comedic relief just stops everything and everyone has to react to it, or everything has to revolve around it for a second. It can't be the main part. It can't be the part of the scene that everyone has to pay attention to.
Look,
it's
coming at it from a creative angle, I can respect Last Jedi more, but that movie had to stick up its ass. And the Rise of Skywalker, I mean, for at least
there were lesbians in this one.
Ugh. I really wanted to get to the end of this trilogy without those people getting what they wanted. Not because I'm against the LGBTQ people. Let 1,000 flowers bloom, I reckon. But I just, sometimes in life, I need to see people take no for an answer. Because I just think it's healthy to be able to hear no. Like, I saw people saying, wow, if this movie doesn't have some representation, I'm done. First of all, you're done anyway. The series is over. And second, I mean, would it really ruin it for you that much? Now, the pendulum swing of that is, I'm also happy to see the lesbians kissing because I know there are people out there who didn't want to see it. I need to see somebody a bit pissed off. I don't know. I can't help it.
Yeah, look, I enjoy when people get very mad about stuff like that. It's hilarious. I also think that they could have maybe showed those characters interacting at all previously to make it just a little less overt.
There's your representation. They kissed once during the celebration. Like, I mean, it's not really fair, is it?
When it's one scene between two completely uninteresting characters that one of them had lines, one of them didn't.
Yeah.
Who was the other character?
I don't remember. I remember
there was the old lady and then there was somebody else, but like I don't know who the other person was.
Even. The witchy poo looking techie who's always at Rebel Base, you know, and she kisses someone, and I don't even remember the other person. So it's not really probably what they wanted.
Exactly. So,
but you know,
have it be characters that have more than one line in the film and have them interact before then, maybe, and I might just think of it as a natural thing. But it was a very kind of long shot.
Yeah.
Of two women kissing.
Like I said, I'm kind of kidding about the whole sometimes you need to hear no thing, but there are people out there who I think that would be a good bit of character development. Just calm down, you know. Star Wars...
Because I'm pretty sure that shot was longer than all the other ones.
Yeah. Unrelated, how long in universe did they leave Princess Leia lying around rotting before she disappeared?
I don't know. Just get her on the funeral pyre. What are you doing?
Get her out of here. She's stinking up the tactical control room. She smells. She smells bad.
She smells. I think Leia was a bit of a weird part of the movie for me.
You know,
because obviously they were using the footage that they had in the way that they could.
Well, that's what they said, but I don't think that's what they did.
Really?
In parts. Well, I didn't want, because I knew that would be a technical limitation, and I didn't want to review a movie on story and feel grounds because they had something they simply couldn't change. So I wanted to be generous and I just wanted to pretend she wasn't dead and just see how they did. But also, I was worried it would be like that thing in Sopranos where Tony Soprano's mum is the actress died, and they had this really weird scene where she's not really there and she's saying random shit. I was worried it would be that bad. And it really wasn't. Sometimes it felt a little like they had to lay a soundboard, like something we would do. But it actually worked alright.
I feel like all the scenes with Leia were just kind of uncomfortable. Like there was just something weird about it.
50-50. They were weird, and the way her face was moving, you could tell she wasn't responding to what she was supposed to be responding to. It turned out better than I thought it would. But then it is kind of weird. They must have run out of footage, because then she just hobbles off and dies in bed. Like, I mean...
Yeah, it doesn't have any... They could have at least done the Poochie thing where she goes...
I'm leaving now.
Off to another planet. Yeah.
Well, we know she likes to fly.
Die now.
We know she likes to take off sometimes. How did you feel about the...
Really cool.
Oh.
What?
What was really cool?
The flashback scene with young...
I was going to say, how did you feel about that? I thought you were going to hate that.
Oh, no, that was fine.
Oh, the less time we
I can't remember what the purpose of it was. But...
The less time we spend together, I think the more unpredictable David gets. But, yeah, no, I was watching that flashback, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And they both look young. I think maybe Luke looked a little better than she did.
They definitely focused on her a little longer.
Yeah.
I mean, she barely even moved her face when they showed her, so I don't know. Yeah, it seemed fine.
It's just a photo shoot. You remember the Bring Back Kirk trailer? And Spock finds Kirk in the woods. Jim! And his head's like pasted on a body. I love that shit.
I think they're getting better at that stuff. I mean, if you don't have them in long, focused shots like Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah.
And he's not completely 3D, you know. Yeah. I mean, obviously they were 3D. Obviously they were completely 3D.
The problem with these animators is they all think they're doing such a bang-up job. And they think, well, it's okay, we can have the camera 3 inches from Moff Tarkin's face because he looks real. And of course, there aren't shots like that in movies normally. So that stands out almost as much as the shitty CG itself. Like, you start to do things with the cameras that you couldn't do before, but of course that fucking jerks the viewer around. All of a sudden you don't know what you're watching, I think.
I find the whole I mean, obviously we talked about it, the movie came out 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But, I find the whole Grand Moff Tarkin thing really weird. Yeah. And the Leia thing from there, because I've talked to a bunch of people since that movie, obviously.
Yeah.
And some people...
A lot of people are saying.
Some people.
Yeah.
Some people knew who he was, like knew the actor was dead, and thought it looked perfectly fine. Some people didn't know who the actor was, thought it was weird, like something weird about that character. Some people didn't know who the actor was and thought it looked fine.
Yeah.
It's such a weird smorgasbord. Like, it's just a completely random kind of... There's something in your brain that makes you realize that it's weird. But
I think the brain needs a bit of training in that regard. Like, I've watched so much video on computers, and I see how codecs operate now, that even a normal video looks deep-faked to me, because I can see the MP4 fucking stuff moving around. I can see the fine fucking...
Yeah, the face kind of...
But there are a lot of people who don't really spend that much time watching visual effects, so they might see something's a little off, but they haven't watched it and thought about it enough to really put their finger on it, so...
It's just an odd thing that I've run across.
Did Han Solo...
When I talk to people about Rogue One.
Did Han Solo have that stubble when he died? I think he was a little more whiskery. And by the way, please pull the plug on Indiana Jones 5. I mean, not that 4 was such a revelation, but at least...
Are they still making that?
I've heard they are.
I hope not.
That guy ain't cracking the whip.
Die. He has to die in that one as well, right?
Oh, you know. And then people are like, I'd rather watch a new young Han Solo, set it in the 30s. He's fighting Nazis again. I'm like, do you though? We went through this when you said James Earl Jones sounded too old to be Darth Vader anymore. I'm like, okay, fine. And then you watch a little bit of Vader Immortal, which is a VR game that I bought and haven't played yet. And the cocksucker pretended to be Darth Vader, and that is like, no, I'd rather have old James Earl Jones. It can't be that hard. Like,
there must be someone. Again,
like it or lump it, you just go with the original. At least it's him.
Disney owns half of the world, basically. And they're basically the British Empire.
And they're working on the other half. Yeah.
So I don't know why they can't find someone who can do a convincing James Earl Jones impression.
Isn't it weird how everyone's just clamoring for AI instead? There's a AI voice cloner thing that I don't know how to use because I can't do programming and shit.
You know what?
Yeah.
Just get Kevin David.
You mean Keith David?
Keith David.
Kevin
James.
Just get Kevin James to do Darth Vader's voice from now on.
Kevin James.
All About Sicily. What's this show called?
All About Sicily?
Hey, he's an Italian American. Hey, come on, Gumba. Sopranos.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Deep dish pizza. Hey, macaroni. Isn't that what his show's like?
No, it's called All About Kevin, because his name's Kevin.
No, I've never watched that shit, so I don't know. Hey, David!
All About Sicily? What are you talking about?
And then Mambo number 5 comes on.
I don't think he's even Italian.
He must be.
He's from Queens.
Yeah, he's from Queens. Forget about it. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's better.
We're okay with making fun of Italian Americans, are we? Or am I getting in trouble for that? Like, I'm joking, alright? I have no problem with you guys.
Scotty, we don't get in trouble for anything. Nobody watches that shit.
No, I don't mean in trouble. I just mean on an interpersonal level. Like, if a random Italian American happened to watch what I just did. There's no trouble. You can't get in trouble.
Scotty, forget about it.
I'd like to get my channel taken down. At least it means somebody saw something I did.
I said forget about it.
Forget about it. Yeah, forget it. It's your license plate. It's his license plate. In the show.
I just want to reiterate my...
Yeah. Sorry. Back to last...
disgust with how lazy the story was in this film. Because...
Why is Palpatine alive?
Why is Palpatine alive? That's my main concern. Okay, so...
In all the flashbacks, you couldn't have had like a flashback of a Sith witch bringing him back from the dead? Why does the Sith cave have 5,000 vampires in it? What about the rule of 2? There's only
fans?
There's only supposed to be 2 Sith at any time. I don't care about that.
I'm glad we finally know who was singing Jewel of Fates that entire time, because when Rey was walking in, there was an orchestra, like an opera.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought it was them singing. I don't know.
5 seconds. For 5 seconds, I thought that's really cool. Then I was like, why is there this underground cave of Siths? What is this? Why? I want answers, and I'm not getting them because JJ doesn't know how to fucking.
It's not getting answers.
Yeah.
You don't get.
It's in the comics. Here's your fucking comics, rip, and your books too.
Look, my concern is not so specific to where all those guys in hoods came from.
I don't care about Grand Admiral Prawn.
My concern is just the whole story. Like,
yeah, well, but like I'm saying, that's just one part.
You reverse the fact that Rey had parents who were nobody. It's very, very egregious. Like the whole movie, the whole trilogy is about her finding out who her parents are.
Yeah.
And it very explicitly stated they were nobody. They were drunk drinking.
They were filthy drunk soldiers. David, they sold you for drinking.
And
they were in a pauper's grave.
And then he just goes, "Oh no, actually, you're the daughter of the most
powerful,
evil person in the entire universe, who is especially evil because now he's back.
Granddaughter. Now he's back. And who the fuck?
Why do they have to make 1,000 Star Destroyers that have shooty lasers on them? Like, everyone was already mad at the fact that Starkiller Base existed.
That's what... In this movie, there was a throwaway line of dialogue which is kind of like, yeah, the Death Star remake was kind of a dumb idea. So it's JJ putting his hands up saying, alright, I got it wrong. But then he puts a mini Death Star laser on every Star Destroyer. And I'm like,
I just don't understand. Like, what's... It's one of those situations where the stakes are too high. It's
Absolutely.
like that Discovery episode where the whole universe, the whole multiverse is going to fall apart because there's a explosion or something. It's like, oh, I don't care anymore. Yeah. Like, it was a little bit better in this than it was in Discovery because Discovery was garbage.
Just barely. Well, at least... No, I can't really say anything.
Just take the criticism... Because he had to remake Return of the Jedi so beat for beat that he needed an existential threat in the form of things that can destroy planets again. So you already got lambasted for making the Starkiller Base. Just stop. And then he made
and then he went and did it again. It's the
even
Coke...
more ridiculous. How the fuck are they building this shit? It's only been like 30 years since Return of the Jedi. Was this guy just... I don't understand.
It's the Coke binge, I'm telling you. Because 1 second he's like, ah, yeah, Starkiller Base. People made fun of me for that, so I'll make fun of it. And then 2 seconds later, you know what would be amazing? 5,000 Star Destroyers, and they'll have lasers on them. And, by the way, you mentioned Star Trek. This movie fell into the great Star Trek pitfall, and I think you know what I'm going to say.
I don't.
How are we losing the war when we have this many ships? Lando goes on a little bit of a recruitment drive, comes back with way too many ships. I mean, like...
Way too many ships.
If they'd had, like, a third of that, it would have been fine. It's enough to attack the weakened fleet, or crippled fleet, or whatever the fucking happens.
There were parts of this movie where I just felt like I was watching bad fan fiction. And especially, like, when they were doing the feel-good speeches, like, Poe's like... All right, everybody, we're gonna go out. I can't even remember who was saying it. I can't even remember what he said. I wasn't even paying attention.
No.
He was just like, we're gonna go out. We can do it because we're gonna do it together.
Wait, so is that the yardstick for bad emotional speeches for you in that movie? Because for me, it was when Finn says a feeling or something like that in the cockpit, like hey, when he's using the Force. It was like South Park. It was like a full Trey Parker thing.
It just felt the parts of the film. I'm getting mad now because I haven't adequately expressed how stupid I found this film when I was sitting there watching it.
Yeah.
Especially in the last 30 to 40 minutes. It just felt like it was a shitty fanfic.
When David was watching this movie up in the presidential booth.
They dragged it off the internet. They were like, what's the stupidest way we can handle Kylo being good again? Let's make him have no lines after he turns good.
Yeah, and he just dies.
He says nothing for the rest of the film.
Yeah.
And then he fights the Knights of Ren, which are just a waste of time.
Yeah, they didn't even have lightsabers.
They were telegraphing the Knights of Ren for the entire fucking movie, and then they don't do anything.
Watch out, these guys are bad brothers. You know, how much more boss were those lobster guards from the previous movie?
The lobster guards were way better. And everyone was mad that he didn't bring, like, Ryan Johnson ignored the Knights of Ren. Good job! Good job ignoring the Knights of Ren, they were useless!
Have you bought any of those lobster guys yet? I want to see you with the full collection.
No, I haven't yet.
Now, David's collecting Mandalorians now, because...
I want to make a Mandalorian suit, but I think everyone else is going to as well, so there's no point.
You've got time. We're not going to review...
time? What, am I going to die?
We're not going to review the Mandalorian in this video.
I haven't watched the most recent episode.
That'll be the next week when...
let me be mad!
Yeah, yeah. Be mad, David! But I don't understand...
Anyway, Kylo runs in.
Yeah.
He just gets the life force sucked out of him. I don't know why they both just sat there and just got the life force sucked out of him.
But they couldn't move.
Yeeted into a hole because Rey needed to do the thing on her own.
Yeah. Makes sense, yeah.
And then he comes out, heals her with the force power that now apparently everyone can just heal other people. It's just bring people back from the dead, heal them, whatever, it's fine. And then he kisses her, which is just comically just so fucking stupid. And then he just dies and just disappears and just... Alright, bye Kylo. And then his ghost isn't even at the end of the movie.
I think, for so many flashbacks, ghosts, hallucinations, whatever you want to call them all, for him not to have any presence after he dies. I mean, he disappears, which is, I suppose, a Star Wars version of a happy ending, but...
it's not a happy ending. It's
the happy ending would have been if he nutted on before this movie.
Look, the stupid thing about this is that Rey didn't... There's no reason that Rey had to die. Why did she die? I don't even know. What?
Because she was...
Is it like all the life force was sucked out of her, and then the power of all the Jedi forced her to do the job to kill Palpatine, and then she didn't have anything left, so she just died.
Yeah.
If he sacrificed herself to save her in some meaningful way, but no, JJ just wrote down, and then Rey dies, and then Kylo has to sacrifice himself to bring her back when she died for no reason. It's stupid.
I was worried.
It did my boy dirty!
In that scene, I was worried that they were just going to get in a loop. You know, she dies, he brings her back to life, then she gets up and he dies. She's like, oh no, wait!
I guess that's why he disappeared.
to stop the loop, yeah. It's a whole Romeo and Juliet thing. Oh no, he killed himself. I need to drink the poison. And then he's like, no, I didn't really drink it. I'm not really dead. And then, you know, it's not really the same.
It just upsets me so bad because Adam Driver is the best part of the... I'm going to say the Star Wars trilogy, the new trilogy.
The sequel trilogy.
He might be one of the best parts of the entire universe.
Yeah, he's the best
He's a
actor.
complicated character. He's a good actor. He plays it well. And it's obvious at some point he was going to get a redemption.
Yeah.
What I thought Disney was going to do was they're going to have all 4 characters alive and they were going to do episode 10 or something. Like, just keep on. You know, whatever. Just keep making movies.
Well, that would have been the big twist.
All the cast is young.
Yeah.
Adam Driver is probably eager.
Yeah.
He's probably eager to play a good version of himself. It'd be interesting seeing a Jedi, a Sith, who has to deal with the fact that he was a Jedi who has to deal with the fact that he was a Sith, and he has to kind of reintegrate himself into society.
He has to go to rehab.
Becomes a hermit.
Force rehab.
Doesn't anything. You could write anything interesting about that.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They just yeeted him out of the story.
Well, you give people anything as a possibility, and they panic. I mean, that's not good enough for professionals who get paid millions of dollars, but it's just a reality.
I think JJ did a good job with The Force Awakens.
Well, he did
the fact that he set up
the only job that he could do. You know, George Lucas. Lucas wanted his Episode 7 to be like happening on a metaphysical level, or like, you know, the microbes and the midichlorians and all sorts of weird shit.
Oh god, my computer's going to sleep.
Yeah, mine did the same thing, and I panicked. Like you can't go too far out of the box. I think he just kind of made the movie...
No, metaphysical, whatever.
Yeah. Please.
I don't know who wrote the characters of Rey and Poe and Finn and Kylo.
Yeah.
Whether it was JJ or whatever, but he did a good job setting them up.
Yeah. For disaster. Yeah.
And then he like, if he was the one that set up the Kylo Rey thing in the first film, why did he do it so dirty in the third film? Just to kill him.
Just hurt my back.
He says...
Yeah.
He has no lines after he turns good. He says, ouch, or something.
He says, oh, I sat on something. I sat on my keys. Who?
That's all he says.
I think he said...
Like, is there a reason they didn't give him any time to be a good guy?
What I wanted was for him to look dead in the camera after they tongue kissed and be like, Nancy, this is for you.
Yeah, when they kissed.
Sometimes when
Scotty's...
Yeah.
If anyone knows who Nancy is, Scotty's sister, my aunt.
Yeah.
Let out a loud ugh, and everyone in the cinema laughed.
Yeah. That's the cinema experience, is hearing people laugh.
Well, I mean, it's a. I would have. Obviously, I wouldn't have expressed it that loud in a cinema, just because I think you're kind of affecting other people's cinema experience.
Yeah, you are kind of being a dick. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's exactly what I felt.
He could have, like, wiped his mouth or, like, taken an Ewok mint or something. Like, it's Ewok mint because everything...
Is that the issue?
Everything has a name in Star Wars. Wow.
Is that the issue, that he had bad breath?
No, not really. They kissed. How funny is that? I've been waiting 4 years for this.
Just that whole... From that point...
Yeah.
The point where he runs in... And also, where did he get that TIE fighter? Did he just go... Excuse me, I need a TIE fighter.
Well, he stole it. Wait, where was the last time we saw him? On the Death Star planet?
Yeah, he was just standing around on the dead Death Star.
Maybe there was like a crashed one and he fixed it up. It was like My Summer Car, but for spaceships. He built the.
He must have just requested Death Star. TIE Fighter.
Yeah. He was like.
Death Star? I must have said Death Star before because I don't remember saying TIE Fighter. Please give me a TIE Fighter.
Please give me a TIE Fighter. How do you feel about General Huxtable getting nailed by Richard E. Grant?
I thought Richard E. Grant's role in this was amusing.
I think he played the evil.
Most an amusing Imperial officer.
I think he was cast well. I think he played the evil admiral. To the hilt. I think what else are you going to do with it?
And I think Hux being the spy was probably the best.
Well, that's all they could do because they couldn't come up with somebody else to be the spy.
It's funny. He's still comedic relief.
Yeah.
It's an amusing reveal when they all go, I knew it!
Yeah.
That's an amusing scene.
Yeah.
And the character wasn't doing anything else, so whatever.
Yeah. And he's a pussy. Spies are pussies.
He's a pussy, yeah.
No. Anyway. Shit. What haven't we talked about in this fucking movie? Glad to see the B-Wing again, my favourite starfighter.
Are you glad to see those space horses coming out of the...
Oh yeah, I was conflicted,
Endor horses.
I wanted, I saw it in the trailer and I thought, yeah, cavalry charging into Star Destroyer, that's fucking insane. Go for it. But also, I mean, it's a bit stupid.
Is it stupid that the entire fleet is driven by one little communications relay that just tells them to go up?
Well, I mean...
We can't figure it out! The communications relay is down.
Which way do we go?
How do we get off this planet?
Yeah, it strikes me if there's only one way to get out, then there's going to be a bottleneck when the other 6,000 Star Destroyers try and get through the same hole. Look,
that's just going up, and the big Star Destroyer says, we'll lead them, we'll guide them up.
That's always going to be the problem with Star Wars for me, is where do you draw the line? I mean, the Death Star has a hole in it, that if you shoot it, it'll blow up. And the AT-ATs can just be tied up with cable. The Force...
It's because the only way to
only
finish
works
this
sometimes.
Movie,
yeah.
The only way to knock out a fleet of 1,000 Star Destroyers, because they gave themselves an impossible task, was give them an impossibly stupid Achilles heel, which is one little communications relay that lets them get off the planet.
Yeah. He took down their Wi-Fi. David's favourite movie... okay, so how many Star Wars movies are there?
11.
11. Are you sure about that? Okay, there's the 9 main ones, and then there's the 2 story ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we could actually do a top 10 and leave out...
do a top 10?
We could do a top 10 and leave out the ones we hate, or the one that we hate. So
the one that we hate.
Yeah, just say, like you have your top 10 and there's no Attack of the Clones, and then some nerd will be like, what the fuck, man? That was the most romantic one. How could you leave that out? Being
alive.
See,
come on, you're onto something, Robbie. You're onto something.
Yeah.
Blow out the candles, Robert, and make a wish.
And there you get to the end of the trilogy, and everyone's still alive and young, and there's going to be no more Poe Dameron. He totally had some chemistry with little Daisy Ridley there for a while.
That's the thing.
But it's going to go nowhere. Choice. It's done. And
it's an odd choice. Finn wanted to tell us something the entire fucking movie, and then didn't say it.
And the nerd in me is now like, that's our first orange lightsaber, and we're never going to see her use it.
That's the thing. No, they have to have more with that character.
Yeah. And
they have to use the character more. Also, why did she turn the lightsaber on?
To make sure it works.
Thank you for showing us the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Thank you also for burying Luke and Leia's lightsabers on just a random fucking planet that they all hated.
It was random to Leia, but also kind of, bad for Luke as well.
It was negative to both of them. The only time she was on fucking Tatooine was when she was a slave in a bikini.
A sex slave to a giant slug. And by the way, that fucking lightsaber grave is very close to where Owen and Beru got, glassed.
Yeah, don't accidentally bury them in the same spot.
Yeah, watch out, you'll accidentally hit Shmi's bones.
And why... What does Houdini mean? Why do they all fucking say it?
Well, I went through that experience already with Mandalorian. They've only got so many bits of Jawa dialogue, and you keep hearing them.
What do you mean they've only got so many bits of Jawa dialogue?
I mean, they've
record more Jawa dialogue.
Yeah, I know, right? Go back to Africa and find whatever tribe that Ben Burt was running past with the microphone.
Just get Bill Burr to do it.
Bill Burr. Hey, David. Hey, Mando.
Hey, Mando.
It's great seeing Bill Burr in Star Wars.
Sharpshooter.
I'm gonna start calling him Bill Burr.
William Burr.
Just, Leia's lightsaber looked a little tacky, I think. Didn't really scream Alderanian princess to me. It was more like, Biggie Smalls.
What do you mean?
Bing, bling. No, I don't know. It looked a little fiddly for me, but that's just a little bit of nerd nitpicking. You got to bring it back to the nerd nitpicking, otherwise people can't relate to you. No, fucking stop.
Hey, you want nerd nitpicking?
Yeah, okay, go for it.
This isn't nerd nitpicking. This is just nitpicking just the way that they decided to end the film.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, she's never been to Tatooine. I get that the sky, like the Anakin and Luke came from, like, it's just pure, just a big syringe of fan service and just.
Well, I already.
It's completely meaningless to Rey.
Like I said, we're not reviewing The Mandalorian yet, but there was an episode, and my gut reaction is, why does everything have to be on fucking Tatooine? Like, why do we keep going back?
You don't have to go back to Tatooine.
It was supposed to be like the one time we were playing around on Google Earth and we found some random American town. And it was one road and it had a really funny name, and I lost it. I can't find it again. That's what Tatooine was supposed to be. Just some fucking butthole somewhere in the world.
Some podunk town.
Yeah, Dunk Po town. Yeah, like what's Podunk?
It's Dunk Po.
Backwards. No, but my point is, why Tatooine? Why are we?
Because it's fan service. Because she had to say Rey Skywalker, and then she had to look at the
twin sunset. And that's the thing. Like, we already went through that with Revenge of the Sith because everyone thought that was going to be the last Star Wars. Like, I quit jerking me around. I can't. You don't have a second funeral 10 years later when somebody dies. We can't keep doing this. And again, with the fan service, where do you draw the line? Like, I guess it's a personal thing. Because for me, I didn't mind watching Darth Vader carve up all them rebels, but some people were like, "This is stupid. Why is this in the movie? This is too much fan service." All of Darth Vader has a lightsaber. For me, isn't that about
fan service?
Isn't that about?
I mean, sure, it's fan service. We finally get to see Darth Vader carve up some rebels, but it actually made sense.
Somewhat. He was pissed off. He wanted the fucking plans. Give me the fucking...
Yeah, he was trying to get the plans.
Give me
the whole part of the movie is that it's going straight into... Yeah.
Give him the plans. Yeah.
It made sense in the story. This didn't make any sense. She's never been to Tatooine in her life.
Yeah.
I doubt she even knew that Anakin... I doubt she knew anything about Tatooine.
Yeah,
Who told her about Tatooine?
Did Luke talk about it at some point? One of my favorite...
Tell her where the homestead was? Because she found it.
One of my favorite things that somebody has said is they had a picture of Luke and Leia's ghosts on Tatooine, and they said, "I think my Colombian aunt has this painting on her wall." People were shitting on Luke because obviously he cut his hair after The Last Jedi, and so he had to wear a wig in this movie. Yeah, a little rough. Like he couldn't help it.
Well, like they killed Ben, and then it's Palpatine versus Palpatine.
Yeah.
And then she just takes the Skywalker name and says, "Yep, yeah. I'm Rey Skywalker." It's like,
if anything, she should have gone.
Ben, why don't you just let fucking Adam Driver live?
You know how she feels about deserts. If anything, she should have ended the movie on some rainforest planet, like a Palmolive shampoo commercial, and been like, "Fuck, this is amazing! Look how much green there is." I mean, that's probably that's what she really do is.
No, but because then she couldn't have slid down the little thing. I thought that was cute, but anyway.
Yeah. Well,
she did a little whee, like down a fucking 10-foot slope. Callback. No, I don't know. You know what would have been interesting? You know what would have been bold?
Yeah.
Interesting story?
Anything but...
Rey dies.
Oh, okay.
Ben just survives. And he has to be a good guy now.
So you think the wrong Skywalker lived?
She's not a Skywalker.
She's related to them, though. Like I said, Palpatine forced Jizzed Anakin into existence, so, like...
Fuck off.
I don't make the rules! If anything, you should tell George Lucas to fuck off.
I am. I'm telling him to fuck off. I'm telling J.J. Abrams to fuck off. Rian Johnson can stay. That's the thing. Like, Rian Johnson...
That's the
he
review.
He made the Rey and Kylo story more interesting by, just wiping out a heritage thing that's stupid, giving them an actual relationship where they actually have to kind of, they have this back and forth where like she wants him to join her and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Because that barely happened in, like, it happened in a very insincere way in Force Awakens.
Yeah.
It just makes me mad. This is now what happened.
Ben
just disappears after he kisses Rey like a fucking stupid.
That's the thing
like a fucking daytime movie.
That's the decision anxiety or selection anxiety that I could never deal with if I was directing Star Wars, because you get one shot. This is now that I've said this in probably the other reviews as well. You only get one chance, and once you've done it, there's no takebacks. There's no one's going to come along in 5 years and say, "Well, the sequels suck. Let's do them again." There used to be fan edits of things, but I guess that's gone out of fashion. Like, this is it. This is Star Wars. This is what you're going to get in the box set.
Yeah, I mean, you can retcon things like Kylo Ren saying, oh, "There were nobody. There were junk treasures.
There were junk treasures.
Yeah. Junk treasures."
Well, he said that because he thought it. You know, that's what he thought at the time. He looked them up. These people are nobody. Just because the
and then they kind of did a little. Well, they were nobody, but his dad was the bad guy.
Yeah. I mean,
you can retcon stuff like that. You can't retcon Ben just disappearing.
And who was Palpatine's son? I mean,
some fucking guy who looked like a fucking Kenobi as well. I was like, what are they doing?
Oh, they're twisting the dagger. David really wanted that Kenobi thing in there.
I would have preferred Kenobi because I just
Oh, I'm sorry. I said that was stupid before. I apologize.
I know, no, but it's all stupid. The only non-stupid thing was Rey not having important parents, because no matter who you choose, it's going to be stupid.
So your review is David. The picture of the Rise of Skywalker poster has 2 quotes by David. It is Rian Johnson can stay and Star Wars is stupid. And then dash David, the internet review.
That's my review.
You know what I really
didn't like it. There has not been a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
That, I mean, besides, I didn't like Solo that much, and I didn't like Rogue One that much. There wasn't a main Star Wars film in the main 9 that I just disliked. Like, even, like, I was like 12 when Attack of the Clones came out.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I thought that was cool.
Yeah. No, me too. I mean, I was a horny 16-year-old. You know, what do you want?
But this is the first one. I mean, I don't think it's just me becoming a cynical old man, because I was, 25 when Force Awakens came out. Whatever. 27 when.
No, well, I just think this
Last Jedi came out. I just didn't like this movie.
This definitely isn't the Star Wars movie that David would have made, if he had the money.
Let Ben be good for at least half the movie. Give him a line or two. Give him a little bit of dialogue. He's the best actor in the entire Star Wars franchise. Just give him a.
And he just
some
dies.
Dialogue?
He just dies because he lost the will to live, I guess. Which is what happens to fucking people in that lineage. I have a bone to pick, not so much with Star Wars, but with the fans. Because, like, if you... this is a real thing you can do. If you look up any fan production made in the last couple of years, any fan film, anything, you will get in the comments, "This is so much better than whatever the last Star Wars movie to come out was." Or, this is what you do, Disney. They really think they know best, and then you actually watch one of these fan films have been around for, what, 25 years? And they all boil down to people fighting in the woods. Like... So I just want to speak in defense. I want to speak in defense of the Disney thing. It might not be very good, and David really hates this movie. But you should see what happens when the fans get what they want. I mean, there was that Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader fight that was remastered. In other words, they just filmed a more intense fight. That was so stupid. There's all this shit in there where they've, like, graphicked Alec Guinness's head on. It's really dumb. Like, really, really bad. And they're all like...
I mean, I feel like some of them are just kind of proof of concept. Obviously, because they don't have the same budget visually as the real movies.
I think it's proof that they needed more concept. No, I don't know what I was going to say. But, like, I don't know. You see what they get. What they come up with themselves when they get what they think they want, and you see how bad it is, and I don't know. I mean, I can't really... That doesn't make the movies any better. But also...
I feel like this movie is...
These people are impossible to please, is what I'm saying.
Sure, they're impossible to please, but I think this movie is a byproduct of just how upset people got about The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
they overcorrected back.
You know, what we didn't talk about was Kelly Marie Tran. Hey, you coming with us on the big mission, Rose? No, I gotta stay here and clean up carbon scoring on the droids or whatever.
You coming with us, Rose?
Nope.
I want to ruin it for you guys.
In the take, she's like, like she really wants to come, and then, no, I gotta stay. The Y-wings need repainting, which, you know, that's a new thing.
I gotta mop up Chewie's shit.
I gotta refill Chewie's kibble bowl. It's called Jimmy Kibble.
Jimmy Kibble.
Yeah. I mean, not that I...
Okay, so, I mean, you enjoyed the movie, generally. I enjoyed parts of the movie.
That's what I'm...
Overall...
That's what I'm trying to get to, is like, I mean, like I said before...
Tell me how you enjoyed it.
This
Sorry,
is the third time. Well, I don't know. I like sitting down and watching movies on big screens. I still believe in that experience.
You know you don't go and see any other movies.
No, that's not true. I went and saw the last Tarantino one.
No, you saw that because I forced you there. And you also watched Mars... Matt Damon on Mars, because I forced you to watch that.
No, I've been to a couple movies. I've been to Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay, maybe I don't go see so many movies, but I can't afford to see every movie. And so
my point is, you seem to enjoy Star Wars movies because you see them in the cinema. Maybe you'd enjoy other movies because you see them in the cinema.
That might be true.
See movies in the cinema more.
But look, if this is going to like Marvel territory, I have to stop you right there. I will never enjoy a Marvel movie. So bad.
Well, if you, Scotty, if you don't enjoy the kind of things that they do in Marvel films, then you wouldn't have enjoyed the line where Rey says, "And I am all the Jedi."
Okay, I didn't like that line either. Please, don't get me wrong. Look,
and you wouldn't have enjoyed when all the ships came in at the end.
Look,
Poe goes,
there is so much I don't like about this movie, but I enjoyed watching it. Give me a second to explain. But I just want to, look, I know I wouldn't enjoy Marvel movies, because when things get more Marvel in other stuff like Star Trek and Star Wars, you know, like in Star Trek Beyond, where the way to defeat the enemy was to put on Beastie Boys. Like, I haven't seen any Guardians of the Galaxy, but I bet you that's what they do in that. I can just tell.
No.
He puts on some Kansas, and like that's what destroys the enemy. And fuck Groot! Fuck Groot in his fucking stupid wooden ass.
I mean, Groot's real dumb.
He's a fucking idiot. I fucking hate him.
You're kind of hitting the nail, kind of. But...
Okay, good. Yeah, fucking Groot. No, look. No, look.
Who cares about Guardians?
I'm not here to review Marvel. I know a lot of people love it. Whatever. Look. I don't know why I was cool with The Rise of Skywalker. Maybe I'd watch it again and hate it. I don't know. Look, okay, if I had to sing out to the strengths of this movie, it would be watching my favourite three actors getting, like, much...
Who are your favourite three actors? Because I'm getting confused, because you said all your favourite three actors survived.
John Bodega, Oscar Isaac, and Daisy Ridley. Like, they're good together. I finally got to watch them be, you know... Like, because we got robbed in the middle movie because they weren't together, and they
did the Empire Strikes Back thing where Luke's somewhere else.
I got a little bit of what I wanted, and I appreciate that. Obviously, Adam Driver's probably better than those guys, but like for story reasons, he couldn't be hanging out with them, which I understand. Hey guys, want to kick back? Blow that piece of junk out of the sky!
That's what I wanted at the end of the movie. I wanted him to go back and be, sorry guys.
Sorry, okay.
Can I join you?
Can I play some Dejaric chess on that table?
Can I get a medal?
So, I want to ask one question, because I know you hate that chess table with a passion. Why doesn't...
the chess table's fine, what are you talking about?
Oh, okay, well, whatever. I was just going to ask, why doesn't that chess table have any more games on it? Is it that
chess table? It's hard-coded for just chess.
No,
you could play Dejaric checkers if you really wanted.
Different character sets, you know, Dejaric Monopoly, I don't know, anything.
Sure. Can I... Have you finished your point? Sorry.
Yeah, hang on, yeah, say something. Say something, yeah, say stuff.
Oh, okay. The giving Chewie...
The medal.
The medal at the end? Yeah. I didn't even visually identify that as a medal. I thought it was like Leia's belt or something.
Oh.
I was like, what the fuck is the significance of
In Wookiee culture, the belt is the greatest thing you can give.
Because it just looked like a belt buckle.
And look, I might not...
out was like, here you go, Chewie.
I might not have recognized it anyway, but I saw somebody say that when the trailer came out. Maz Kanata, another weak link. I mean, I just wish she had been Lando in the first place, because They're on a casino... Not a casino planet. Like, you know the planet where Maz lives? You know?
Yeah.
Holding court with all the smugglers, you know. It makes more sense. And Lando's the only guy that would have had the resources and the connections to clean out the Cloud City ducts and retrieve Luke's hand and lightsaber. It makes a hell of a lot more sense for him to have it than that stupid bitch.
At the same time...
But it would have been dumb.
Wouldn't he have given that back to Luke at some point?
Yeah, I guess. Alright, whatever. I guess at some point he might have mentioned it like, hey, Luke, I got your family heirloom. Come get it.
And your hand.
And your...
Don't know if you want that back.
No, yeah, I guess that's... Yeah. No, I'm not going to sit here and try and say what would have made it better, because that's the Star Wars fan trap. And like I said, you see what happens when they try and improve things? It doesn't work.
No, my idea of how it ended would have been great.
So we're sticking by Rey should have died, because she was a fucking Palpatine, and, you know, as far as galactic justice goes, that line must be terminated. She deserves to die.
Like, well, if she doesn't want to do any movies anymore, they could have killed her and had Ben continue. Yeah. I don't know if she does want to do movies. You mentioned that she doesn't, but I think you're just making shit up.
Okay, look, I've never met her, but it's just a feeling I get. She's like, well, I had fun making 3 movies, but I'm done now. Yeah.
You've never heard her even say that.
But it was so convincing when I said it. I mean, you can imagine her saying it, can't you?
It just would have been more interesting. And now, if everyone who dies...
Yeah.
Can get brought back. It's fine.
No,
Anakin died for nothing. Anakin fucked up for nothing. Obviously, because apparently you can just heal anything whenever you want.
Yeah.
It's not just in video games anymore.
Yeah.
You can just heal... Jedi can just heal people.
And what's with Palpatine's, like, weird little kink for people striking him down? In, like, the third part of every trilogy now, he's tried to get someone to cut him up with a lightsaber. And in the prequels, he was getting hard for it. He was like, I knew you would. I can feel your anger. Oh, it gives you focus. And then
he seems to imply that the way that the Sith work is that when you strike down somebody, you kind of gain their power.
Yeah, you get
gain the souls of all the Sith that came before.
It's like a quickening in Highlander, or no, it's not like the Bloodlust from Warcraft, but it would make that sound like you get their magic. I just want to hear you do it again.
I'm not going to do this.
Oh, David, what happens? When you get the bloodlust on the ogres in Warcraft 2.
Do you mean when you cast it on somebody?
Yeah. What sounds does it make?
So you got an ogre magi, right?
Yeah. You got an ogre
magi. You've built the ogre mound, and you've built the temple of the circle of
the altar of storms. Yeah.
Altar of storms. Yeah. And then you research the ogre magi.
Yeah, bloodlust
upgrade, and then you research. Do you have to research bloodlust, or is it just natural?
You might. No, you get the Eye of Kilrog. That's included in the package, but I think you might.
Yeah, but then you have to research bloodlust.
Yeah.
And then you've got your ogre magi. You're about to run into Scotty's base.
Yeah. But you need your troops need that little bump in. You
need to cast it over and over again, and it goes.
Yes, I got him to do it. You can always be relied upon. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the Sith thing. Look, I don't know, and
the ridiculous movie that we just watched.
I don't know. I felt this way through all the trilogy. The whole trilogy felt like a skit sometimes, because we've seen so many skits where characters do themselves. You know, it just felt like a big budget SNL thing. You know, Han Solo's running around being Han Solo, even though he never wanted to do it again. Luke, you know. And the Emperor, so many people have impersonated him now. We've all got our Emperor Palpatine impersonations down so well that it just felt ordinary.
He said some abilities some consider to be unnatural. He said the line.
Yeah. What's with all the quoting the previous movies? We can do that. We don't need J.J. Abrams to quote movies that we've watched at us. We can quote ourselves.
Oh, you know what? Sorry. You know what one of the worst parts of this movie was?
Yeah.
And it was during the fucking eclectic first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Eclectic, that's a good...
Where Leia... I can't even remember why, but Leia says, never underestimate a droid.
Yeah.
And then about 3 minutes later...
There's a callback, yeah.
Rey has to repeat that line.
Again, it's JJ with the Coke. He couldn't wait any longer.
Just wait, like, another 20 minutes. Just wait any period of time more. Why did it have to happen right after it happened?
And the whole
sort of callback.
BB-8 finding another robot friend. BB-8 is a pet. He doesn't get to have a pet. I think they said that in Frasier once. And R2-D2 always being left behind. I mean,
oh, you got to be in the X-wing with Poe.
Oh, did he? Oh, my computer went to sleep again.
Yeah, he was in Poe's X-wing because BB-8 was doing the mission.
Oh, okay.
So in a sense, he got left behind story-wise, but he was there.
Yeah.
I think he got to do his little wow when all the ships got electrocuted.
I did like the visuals and the sound and the feeling of Palpatine, tasering an entire fleet. That was pretty cool. I like the scale. Well, some of the scale was good, but then, again, they made the fleets too big. It was kind of like, who's building this fleet? Why? Where's the crew? Okay, Sith magic, he built some Star Destroyers, but where did he get the crew? Where did he get the people to run them?
And at some point,
yeah,
if you're in the military,
yeah. Oh well,
you look down. Yeah. We got our new uniforms. They're entirely blood red. You look down and just go, "What am I doing?
What am I? Where?"
We must be the bad guys. I'm in red now.
Yeah, they're past the whole questioning point, and this is like, fuck,
At least we were white before we could. Just blood red.
We
must be bad guys.
Well,
where'd they get all those new stormtroopers?
Ever since the Ewoks, people have been saying, George Lucas just wants to sell action figures. And, okay, fair enough. It's all about the merchandising. Probably makes more than the movies ever do. But, I don't want the job of the guy that has to come up with the new stuff so that people will buy. I mean, it's got to be a tough job. You got to come up with something. Red Stormtroopers. I mean, I don't know. I'm not defending them. It was like the bombers from the last one. The second you saw them, you're like, wow, that would be a cool Lego.
Well, the cool... I hope they don't try and sell Knights of Ren toys, because they were just completely useless.
No.
They had no part in the story. They were there the entire movie. They kept showing them. Ended up being completely worthless.
I would double buy the lobster guards in full, one boxed and one unboxed, before I would buy a single Knight of Ren. Sorry.
Another thing, the lightsaber fighting in this just wasn't actually like. I like the fight between. I mean, it was alright. Like, I like the fight between him and her on the Death Star. Very reminiscent of Revenge of the Sith, except they're just getting splashed with water.
Yeah, instead of lava, it's water. Actually, you know what? Because I defended the lightsaber fighting in the Force Awakens because they're both kids and they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then this third one, I don't know, maybe they could have pulled out a little more. But here's the thing, I don't like hyper-choreographed shit like Revenge of the Sith. I think that's retarded. They never look like they're within an inch of hitting each other.
Well, I think what they wanted to do with the new trilogy, which they stayed true to, was just making it a little more visceral.
Yeah.
Just, boom, boom. He's got a big broadsword, that's the kind of the thing that he's doing.
Yeah. So,
I can't fault that at all in any of the movies, but I felt like definitely compared to the lobster fight in Last Jedi, the fight with Rey and Kylo fighting the Knights of Ren and some dudes.
Yeah.
Just very bland in comparison.
Whoa!
It's the only time we get to see Kylo Ren with a blue lightsaber being a good guy.
Yeah.
And it was just very dark, kind of pointless, because the Knights of Ren are all shit.
I am every Jedi. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that line ever works in any movie. Because it's always built up too much. And like, what could they possibly say? I bet they've got a real zinger coming. It's like in Return of the King, when she's like, I am no man. And you're telling me that some ancient fucking, warlock is going to fall for a technicality like that? He's like, oh, jeez. I didn't think of that when I wrote the prophecy. No man can kill me. Oh, crap, you got me. You're actually a woman.
That's... Okay. This isn't how they portrayed it in the movie. No. So... It's a valid criticism, but apparently she had a sword that was important for some reason.
Oh, okay. Alright, whatever.
I don't know what happened was when the hobbits find a whole bunch of cool swords. I think it's that mountaintop kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
they find all these cool swords that are ancient relics or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Mary ends up giving that sword to her.
Yeah.
And that is why that worked. But they didn't actually show that, and I'm pretty sure the prop that she was using was not the same sword anyway. So,
but you know what I mean?
It's a valid criticism, but...
Yeah. That moment in movies just never works for me. I mean, the absolute worst one was in the first X-Men when Storm is like, you know what happens to a toad when he gets struck by lightning? And there's that fucking pause, and she's like, the same that happens to everything else. It's like, yeah, I'm really trying to think of a movie where the big line actually sounded good, and I can't give you one. I guess Ripley saying, get away from her, you bitch, when she's wearing the forklift robot. That's pretty, classic.
I know you don't like Marvel films.
Okay, alright, but you've got a good one?
But let me tell you...
Okay.
Because I know you didn't watch this movie, so...
Okay.
At the end of Iron Man 1, you probably watched Iron Man 1.
I did watch Iron Man 1.
Okay, yeah, but it's like... At the end of Iron Man 1, instead of doing the usual superhero thing where he hides his identities, he's very secretive, he doesn't want his family to get hurt, he does the Tony Stark thing, which is, hey everyone, I'm Iron Man. And then the movie ends there, and it's like, oh, that was unexpected, Is
that real?
He's a new kind of superhero.
I can't tell if you're making that up or not.
New era of super... What?
Do you make that up? Was that really how it ended?
Yeah, that's the end of the film. He goes up, nobody knows there's Iron Man, and then he goes up at a press conference, and he's like,
oh, okay.
I am Iron Man. And then that's where the film ends.
No, I can respect that.
Anyway, near the end of Endgame,
yeah,
where Thanos finally gets the gauntlet on, he's got all the stones in it.
Yeah.
And he's going to do the clicky thing where he just kills half the universe. And he goes, I am inevitable, and he clicks. And he's like, oh shit, there's no stones in it. Because Tony Stark stole all the stones with his Iron Man. He's got his own little Iron Man Infinity Gauntlet thing.
Yeah, okay.
Right, he steals all the stones, and this is going to kill him because it's super powerful.
Yeah.
And Thanos goes, I am inevitable. Click, nothing happens, and he goes, I am Iron Man. Because then it's like a callback to the... It's still kind of shit, but it's a callback to the first film. Obviously, that works better because there's a 10-year callback.
Yeah, not a 3-minute callback. Well, you're going to never underestimate a droid. Yeah.
But that's one situation where it kind of worked.
Yeah. I was just thinking, on balance, we probably should have seen the Palpatine thing coming, because you remember how last...
It's fucking stupid. Why would anyone think that was what they were going to do?
You remember how Last Jedi ended? They were at that temple, they were having the flag parade, all the happy people were running past, and then Mark Hamill's standing there in his Jedi wizard robes, and the current cast come running up to him, and he's like, you know what, kids, you did a great job. And then all of a sudden there's thunder behind him, and the temple bursts open, and the Emperor comes out, and he's all like, it's the Emperor. And then the guy says, pathetic fools, you will all be destroyed. And then Mark Hamill raises his dukes and says, I don't think so. You remember that bit?
Are you talking about the end of Incredibles?
No, it's actually the end of Mortal Kombat, the movie. I was wondering if you've ever seen...
I thought you meant the bit where the Underminer comes up. Dude, voiced by John Ratzenberger.
Yeah, now that I think of it, the Mortal Kombat and Incredibles have similar endings. I never put those two... Yeah.
I don't think so.
Alright, okay. Well, anyway, Christopher Lambert bears a strong resemblance to Luke Skywalker in that scene. So,
sure.
Yeah.
I could speak a lot longer on how disappointed I am that they got rid of Adam Driver.
Yeah.
They put Palpatine in the film. They made a fleet of 1,000 Death Stars.
Some of the music was very good, though.
The music's fine. I'm never upset with the music.
How could you be?
Never upset with the music.
Yeah.
But the story beats that they picked.
Yeah.
It's a very bland, disappointing end to a trilogy.
Yeah.
And they did. And my main point, if you want to take anything out of this review,
yeah,
from my perspective,
from David's perspective,
is that they did my boy dirty. Adam Driver should have survived.
Yeah.
Just let him be a good guy. Just let him be the redeemed Jedi. We haven't had that in the movies yet.
Yeah, they always die.
And having him die is just so cliche, so stupid.
Yeah.
Just let him live with the consequences of his actions up to this point.
He has to go to prison even, but at least he's alive.
And let him have dialogue. Because this man is the best actor in the trilogy. All he gets to say is, "Dad,
I feel somewhat exposed.
I know what I must do. I don't know if I have the strength to do it." And then he says, "Ouch," and then he dies.
Because I liked watching the movie, but I don't know if I liked the movie.
I'm sorry to ruin it for you.
We haven't ruined it. I'm puzzling. I want to have some parting words to speak up for this movie.
Match mine.
I enjoyed.
Just
look.
Lay out your review in less than a minute. I
can never really get too vitriolic about Star Wars because even with the prequels, they sucked. But I've spent the last 20 years talking about them and memeing them and quoting them and enjoying the memory. And even The Last Jedi, people got so up in arms about that. They were ripping on Kathleen Kennedy, even though she's been working for Lucasfilm longer than these idiots have been alive, and she probably gave them some of the stuff they love so much. The knives coming out, the claws, whenever there's a bad Star Wars, oh fuck, and then the pendulum swing of that, which is The Mandalorian is the best Star Wars we've ever seen. It's amazing. Just because it's a guy that looks like Boba Fett, and there was an episode where more of them came and one of them saluted. Like, that's really what you want. Star Wars fans are so superficial and predictable. I can't really. This Rise of Skywalker might have sucked, but I cannot make myself become one of these people. It's just Star Wars. I just want to have a little fun.
Star Wars is back. Mandalorian proves that Star Wars is back. It's got Baby Yoda.
We will be talking all about that when the finale comes out. And we can do another season.
There's one more episode, right? There's only 8 episodes.
There's one more episode. It's next Friday. For the next installment of the Star Wars Holocast. Coming at you from the Outer Rim.
It's the Holocaust episode 1. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There's going to be episode 2, and then that's it.
Yeah. We'll be reviewing...
Until Scotty finishes Fallen Order, and then we can review that.
Jedi Fallen Over. Top 5 moments. So yeah, that's Rise of Skywalker. Look, like I said, I cannot tell you why I liked it, and maybe my feelings will change. But it definitely wasn't. It wasn't as thought-provoking or anything as the last one. And you pay for JJ, you get JJ, and everything I don't like about him was in this movie.
There were certain parts in The Last Jedi that really fucked with your brain. You were just like, oh,
yeah,
that's weird, or whatever. Like the only bit in this movie that was like that, was when she electrocuted the ship and blew up Chewbacca.
But that was of no consequence.
Like, oh fuck!
In the end,
she actually went out of control and just fucking killed Chewie.
Yeah.
But then it got undone in 30 seconds, and then
the C-3PO thing got undone as well. No consequence. Nothing means anything with JJ.
Except Adam Driver dying.
And I can't get up in arms about things being bad because take the last shot of The Last Jedi. It's that little janitor kid. I mean, I don't like the way it was executed. It looked like a Pepsi commercial. The way they close up on the ring, and then his little face is all lit, beautifully, and then there's the stars. You half expect Michael Jackson to walk in and say, "Hey, keep on dancing, kid," like some shit. It's just it felt like a commercial. But I respect the idea of Luke becoming a folk tale and little people being inspired by it. And I think the reason people didn't like that is because old Star Wars fans are the kind of people that don't pass their toys on when they get old. Like, they don't want the younger people to have it. It's all about them. It's all about the fucking past. And you can't really blame JJ for that in his filmmaking when you yourself are the problem.
And just, even if nobody liked, well, even if a lot of people didn't like what The Last Jedi did.
Yeah.
Which, JJ must have had a real bad reaction to it.
Oh yeah, like Peanuts.
Like, obviously, because the first one was his movie, and then the second one kind of undid some of the things he did, or just ignored some of the things he did.
I think his actual reaction
but then he very vindictively just chopped up The Last Jedi and just said, okay, we're absolutely reversing that. The focus cannot be on a new generation of Jedi. Yeah. It has to be about Palpatine and Rey.
And Luke's ghost.
And Rey's parents were definitely very important. They were definitely not nobody. Yeah. He just completely reversed everything. And it made the trilogy worse. Just make the film that you want to make afterwards, but you don't have to just burn the last film.
Yeah.
Entirely. It's still there.
And so transparently as well. Like, really obviously. But that's JJ, you know. Oh, did you see Wedge?
No.
He was that one old pilot.
Yeah, I saw the old guy. I didn't. Sorry, I didn't understand that was Wedge Antilles.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that was Wedge. See, I'm living in the past now. Oh, fuck, you know. I remembered who Wedge was.
One thing I really enjoyed
fucking
at the end of the movie. This is
Yeah.
the last thing I'll say.
Yeah, yeah. The last one.
One of my favorite parts of the movie was that Dominic Monaghan finally got to hug that big slug, because I saw him eyeing that slug for the entire movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he finally gets to turn around. And
You know, we were talking about representation before. Like, I guess it's open season now. If girls are kissing, you know, why can't Pippin tongue kiss that big fucking slug? You know, it's open season. Mary, Pippin, whichever. You know, people are gonna start humping droids. I guess anything's possible now. It's tough. Sorry, I'm joking.
Hang on, I gotta check. Gotta check which Hobbit it was.
Oh, it was Mary. It was Mary. I fucked up. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Upcoming movie, Waldo.
As in, where's?
No.
Ah, fuck! I've always wanted a big budget Where's Waldo movie.
No.
The new cinematic franchise.
It's Wally everywhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, you know who's playing Waldo in the film Waldo?
No.
Charlie Hunnam.
Wow. That guy still works? Fuck me.
And Mel Gibson is the second actor in the list.
How do you feel about the Ghostbusters trailer, David?
Didn't see it?
Ugh, looks pretty boring. That's another cinematic universe that doesn't need to exist. Why do we need more Ghostbusters?
Did you see the trailer for Tenet?
No, that's a Chris Nolan movie? That's all I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
people don't like him either.
Trump.
Oh,
and the trailer goes... You know, like the horns in Inception.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing I've seen... The only thing I've seen that you haven't is The Lighthouse, and as soon as you watch that, hit me up. I want to hear all your thoughts, because...
I do want to watch that, but I'm going to wait for it to be in the cinema.
Trust me, it's a good movie.
I saw a screenshot of the version that you got, and had a gambling ad right over the top of it.
I'm watching an intense scene in The Lighthouse, and all of a sudden a pinata drops down into the frame, and somebody starts whacking it, and this is like superimposed on the video, and like you're being promised gambling rewards by some vaguely Indian-sounding person. And there was also some coughing in the cinema at some important bits. So, yeah, maybe wait for a good release, but it's worth the wait. It's worth the wait. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So, that was Margaret and David.
That's another thing about Tenet.
Oh, yeah, Tenet. Yeah.
I think the second billing actor is Edward Cullen.
Who's that?
The guy that's in the lighthouse. Wait, no, that's his character's name.
Oh, Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Is he a good actor in that?
Yeah, he's great. Don't let Twilight fool you. The guy has some chops. I feel so dumb saying that. Yeah.
I've always had the inkling that he's just actually a good actor.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially because, I don't know if you've seen the video.
No.
There's a video, it's just a highlight reel of him bagging on Twilight in interviews and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's like, this character is a fucking insane person.
Well, you know...
He's like, are you upset that the movies are over? He's like...
No, but they are. I think he says that, yeah. No. Lighthouse washes away his sins completely.
Yeah. So he's going to be in that Christopher Nolan movie anyway, so that's good.
I thought Christopher Nolan always used the same actors. I'm fully expecting to see Michael Caine, Christian Bale...
Go watch the trailer.
Matthew Mahogany. Oh. Really? David? I don't want to bury another member of the NASA family. I've sewn up your wounds. I've mended your scrapes. But I won't bury you. Yeah.
I like Michael Caine as much as the next guy.
Oh, I love Michael Caine. But
I don't know if he has to be... I think it's the same character in every movie. It's not like I don't think he has to be in every Christopher Nolan movie.
He does! He must!
Why don't you get Keith David or something?
Or Kevin James.
Kevin James.
There's your callback.
Anyway, alright.
David's gonna go places. In summation, he hated it. I liked it inexplicably, but I agree with every criticism, so... Look, get back to me in like a week, I'll probably change my mind, I don't know. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with us for our last Disney Star Wars review for a while, because who knows what's next. Mandalorian, yeah, okay. But then, yeah.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, we're going to review that next week.
Next week? Once it's over,
Once it comes out, yeah.
Alright, cool.
Alright, take it easy, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us.
See you guys.
Alright, cool.
I don't like the movie.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I don't know. Wololo.
Also,
Yeah.
another thing where
Yeah.
another thing where JJ just kind of stuck it to Rian Johnson
Yeah. Raked him.
was, let's just put the helmet back together again and then make him wear it for 80% of the film.
Yeah. It was like,
It's like,
in Last Jedi, it's like...
obviously, Rian Johnson knew how good an actor Adam Driver is.
Yeah.
And then he just says, because JJ Abrams must have made the design for that helmet. And he was like, oh, I like the helmet. I'm going to bring it back.
I bet he welded it back together himself. Take that ridiculous mask off. And JJ's like, I love that mask. It's like Darth Vader.
It's not, because it stops him from being Adam Driver. It stops him from being able to act.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does, because he can't act. He can't act with that helmet on.
There was a scene.
His voice sounds weird.
There's a scene in Force Awakens where they filmed it, and it was Adam Driver talking without a mask. And then later, I think they decided they weren't going to reveal him yet, and they put a CG mask on him.
Really?
Yep, real scene. Really happened.
Okay. I'm gonna go out.
So, alright, see you, dude.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Well, like I said, I might change my mind soon, so... I don't know.
It ends with her on Tatooine looking at the suns.
I know. Okay, so they didn't stick the landing.